Hello, everyone, and welcome to the online teaching show. My name is Tim. So glad to have you here. If you're watching live, you're welcome to say hi in the chat. In fact, I encourage you to let us know where you're tuning in from. And if you're watching the replay, please say hi in the comments of the video. If you want to get in touch with me for any reason related to online teaching, or you are looking for some of the courses that I offer, I put all those things down in the description of the video, as well as my Facebook group, Going Solo Independent Teaching, where it really is an open forum to ask questions about how to get started. If you're with a company and you're wanting to kind of move away and teach independently, that is a great place to start. As well, you are welcome to watch my free live training. It's the 3 secrets to launching and growing your online ESL teaching business. This is running with multiple times, and you are able to join as well by clicking the link in the video description. So hello again. Thank you, Mary, for being here again. Always faithful to watching my lives. Really appreciate that. And hello, Stephen, another one that's often here, and MS. And we've got Marie, is an ESL teacher from the Philippines. Awesome. Well, great to have everybody here. Hi, David. Ready for a great live stream? Yes. And, I always say an open invitation. If anybody wants to share their online teaching journey / story / experience on the channel, you're always welcome to. I really love the Monday show to be about featuring online teachers, their experiences. Everyone kind of does things a little bit differently. Companies that you work for or worked for, how you're moving independently, if that's what you're doing, and building your teaching business. And yeah, so I'm really excited about today's guest, WABO, who is going to share about his experiences teaching online, some of the companies that he's been with as a non-native speaker, and just his travels overseas to Asia as well, working in language schools, and now building his private teaching business. So without further ado, welcome, WABO. Hello.
Yeah, hey Tim, how are you doing? And
I'm
hey
doing
everyone,
good.
it's nice to meet everyone.
Yeah,
Hey,
thanks so much for joining. Thanks so much for coming on and giving up time. So let's start with, you can just introduce yourself and tell everyone where you're from, where you are now, anything you want to share.
yeah, sure. Hello everyone. My name is WABO. I guess most of my students know me as Teacher WABO. Um, I've been an ESL teacher for around 4 years now. I started off my ESL career like shortly after university. Um, I got my CELTA in Johannesburg about 4 years ago, and shortly after that, started teaching English in Vietnam. I was trained to teach mainly adult students, but once I got to teaching in Vietnam, I mostly worked at a language school where I taught mainly young learners. Um, and that was like a really great experience for me, as I really got to learn a lot more about myself as a teacher, and working with students of different English levels, and stuff like that. Um, then for the last year, I've been focusing more of working online. Most of my time as an English teacher was going really well right until the pandemic hit. And as I think was the same for most other English teachers, we started having to transition to online classes more. And since that time, I've more generally focused on working online. I've worked online for companies like Cambly and AmazingTalker mostly, which is where like I'm pretty much working full time now. Pretty
Okay.
much. Um, but like since taking I took your launch going solo course, I think just a few months ago, and recently launched my own online company like last month. So right now I'm just focusing on trying to grow my own online business right now, pretty much.
Cool.
That's
Great.
pretty
So
much yeah.
yeah, so where are you right now? Where were you born? You said
Okay.
you worked in Vietnam for a bit. You did your degree in South Africa. Like, tell us like a little bit about
Yeah.
where you're born,
Oh, okay.
what
I'm
passport do you
from
have?
Yeah. Sorry about that. But I'm from Botswana. So right now I'm in Botswana actually. Um, so I'm just working from here pretty much. I
Okay.
was
So are
born
you
in Botswana.
Botswanian? Like you have a Botswana passport?
Yeah, I have a Botswana passport. It's a long story pretty much. I have a Botswana passport. I was born in Botswana, but most of my life I grew up in other countries, mainly in New York. Since my dad was a diplomat, I moved around a lot when I was younger, pretty much,
Okay.
which is one of the things that like pretty much got me interested into teaching since I like to travel a lot and meet people from different backgrounds. Like after university, I sort of just continued traveling and stuff like that.
Great. So
But yeah,
what language did you speak at home? Like growing up in Botswana, what language did you speak? I mean, you
I think
you speak
like
fluent English. So how did like what's your language learning background?
Mostly just English. I
Okay.
guess my mother tongue was a language called Setswana, but since I left the country while I was really young, maybe 6 years old, um, and pretty much like while I was growing up, my parents pretty much just spoke to me in English since we pretty much just lived in like English speaking countries most of the time. So I
Okay.
mostly just speak English and um, I guess like during university and high school, like I learned some French, so I have some knowledge of that language too.
Okay.
Yeah, mostly just English, really.
Yeah. And you told me before that you went to university in New York, right?
Yeah, I went to
Okay.
university in SUNY Albany, the State University of New York in Albany, pretty much.
Yep. All right.
Um,
Cool.
yeah, like right after that, like I went into teaching and went to Vietnam to teach for a while, then
Okay.
ended up here pretty much.
Okay. So
Mm.
you've done a lot of things. Like you moved to Vietnam to teach in a language school. Um, would
Yeah.
you what are you considered in terms of like teaching jobs and things like that a non-native speaker or a native speaker, and how have you navigated that with teaching in different countries? Like what does that look like? It's a broad
Like,
question, but
yeah.
feel free to share what you want with that.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting question. I'm considered as non-native, like officially for like most schools that I apply to. Um, but I guess so sometimes that can come with its own challenges in terms of finding a school, but usually it is possible for me to find schools, but like when I get to schools, they generally do consider me as a native speaker. It's just officially in terms of my passport, like I'm not considered like a native.
Right.
So that just brings like its own challenges and roadblocks that you have to deal with, like
I
as
bet.
like an English teacher. And yeah, like
Because
it's
I
not something.
really hate the non-native versus native type of distinguishing factors,
Yeah,
because I think that non-native speakers can absolutely teach English and can still have a successful career. It's just so many schools, if you're applying online or if you're applying to online schools, like they may not even get to meet you. And I mean, obviously, like you're a
yeah,
fluent,
definitely.
you speak like a native English speaker and
Yeah,
should be considered as one. So
yeah,
I hear so many of my non-native teacher friends that are trying to get in with companies. It is so difficult because as soon as you submit that passport, it's like that's the first roadblock. Either you're not
yeah.
accepted, or you're put into a category where your pay is lower. Have you ever faced anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. I'm kind of like going through that right now. Like I'm main
Mhm.
like on in terms of my online work as a teacher, I'm mainly working on AmazingTalker.
Okay.
It's a great company to work at, work at if you're starting off as an online teacher because it is an online marketplace where you get to choose your own prices and grow as a teacher. But there are like certain restrictions. That kind of limit how fast you can grow or pretty much the magnitude in terms of how much you can grow. It's like based on the hour of teaching and like one of the factors is like how many hours you teach, and like the other factor is your nationality or your passport. And personally, that's had a huge effect on me because as I told you before, like I've been working like for language schools for like the last few years. So like I never really had to, like the language schools I was working at, I never really had to deal with like the non-native
Yeah.
native thing. Like I only really
Yeah.
started having to deal with that online, and
Yeah.
it's really limited how much I can grow as an English teacher, as
Okay.
and just made it really hard to replace like pretty much like the type of income you would make like teaching at a language school or just like a normal brick and mortar school. Pretty
Yeah.
much so, yeah.
So what does it look like in reality? Like, do they pay you differently, or does AmazingTalker hire non-natives but then give them a different pay scale? Like, what does it look like for you? Do you see
Well,
people making more than you that are there that are not considered non-native?
well, not really. If you're like considered non-native, I guess they still hire you, but there's kind of a different pay scale.
Right.
Um, like what they work on recommended price ranges, and even though it's a marketplace where you get to pick your own price, you can really only set your price based on that recommended price, and they choose the recommended price partly based on your nationality. So you get into a situation where like there's some teachers, no matter how qualified they are, there's earning way less than other teachers who might not be like as qualified. Actually, they're actually some of them aren't even like what you would consider native teachers in terms of like the main passports, which are considered natives. So I'm not really sure like
Okay.
exactly how that works also. But yeah,
Right. So that's been kind of a stumbling block for you.
yeah,
And so you've been I wanted to ask you about your experience in Vietnam. So you were teaching with language schools. You know, Vietnamese culture is very homogeneous. Like,
yeah.
have you experienced any racism, discrimination in terms of being a teacher in those schools?
I think like in term I think I got like really lucky when I first got to Vietnam. Like the school which like actually took me there like right after I finished my CELTA, like it's like one of
Nice.
the bigger schools in Vietnam, like and they generally do hire like non-discriminately just based on like
Good.
your actual qualifications. So my
Yeah.
first 2 years in Vietnam, like 2.5 years, were pretty good. Like I only really started experiencing problems when I tried to look at other opportunities that I saw like other teachers um, pretty much like going for.
Uh-huh.
Like pretty much like that's when I started to like if you want to like work, for example, like at a university as an English teacher or like in other schools, or you want to do something different other than teaching English, I feel like there are just a lot more roadblocks that you have to face in that
Okay.
pretty much. But like most of the discrimination, like to be fair, like I don't want to discourage anyone from like traveling to Vietnam, but like um
Yeah.
just being honest, like as someone who is non-native and a person of color, there like you do sometimes face discrimination in countries like that, which are not used to probably having like that many people of color. But I
Right.
think most of the discrimination I faced wasn't really from like the students and stuff. It was more like outside forces, people
Right.
like outside who probably weren't language learners or who were that open to like yeah being around like people different than them. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
I'm
like yeah,
so sorry that you went through that. It's like kids don't see color oftentimes, you know? It's like,
yeah,
but I know in this part of the world sometimes, in very non-diverse countries like in Southeast Asia, it can be more challenging for people of color. And so I just wanted to ask you, yeah, about that. And it's unfortunate that it happens. But as you say, you don't want to discourage folks from traveling and
yeah.
teaching English and even teaching online. I mean, what has sort of, even with those roadblocks, like how do you overcome that? Like, do you have any tips or suggestions, or do you just, keep moving forward and putting yourself out there, and then your reputation will follow you? Or like, how have you sort of overcome some of them? Or
I
you know
Yeah, I think just keep moving forward and putting myself out there. I think even like with the problems that come with being a non-native teacher, like I've been lucky enough to find like a lot of students from Vietnam and like Taiwan who
Mhm.
like just really appreciate you as a teacher, like uh despite that fact. So like
Yeah,
there's still ways to make it work. It's just that it can just feel like a lot more challenging than normal.
right.
So yeah,
And I think at the end of the day, you know, regardless of your skin color or your background and things, it's always better to kind of have your mindset set on building your own business and moving
yeah,
away from these companies, because the pay is low regardless. If I went on
yeah,
Cambly
definitely.
today, I'd be making $10 an hour. And so, what did you do? Okay, well, first of all, why did you leave Vietnam, and why are you back in Botswana? And talk a little bit about that.
Okay. I left Vietnam right like during a lockdown pretty much.
Okay.
Like I guess like right around COVID time, there were like several lockdowns and I actually just had like personal problems. I'll just share I just had I'm not sure if you know Vietnam, but the main mode of travel is by motorbike. Most
Hmm.
foreigners who go to teach there end up learning how to drive a motorbike, and that's how they usually get
Yeah, same
around.
in Thailand. Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I remember on top of having to deal with lockdown and pretty much always being stuck at home, having to teach online, I unfortunately got into like a pretty bad like motorbike accident, broke my knee. So I ended up having to like spend like even more time like alone by myself.
Right.
During that time. So at that time I just felt like it was the best move just to like go back home and be around like other people that I know.
Right.
Um but then I guess that's one of the reasons. But then another part of the reasons was like just being honest. Part of it I never planned when I left Vietnam. I planned to go back shortly after, but I've ended up staying home like a lot longer. I
Hmm.
guess one of the things that has been like making me a bit hesitant to go back has been kind of like the discrimination that you can face like when you teach in Asia or a country like Vietnam. Because one of the things I noticed, like while you live in a country like that, working at a language school, you end up living in a bubble with like pretty much in a community of other like language teachers, and you come to like things happen to you and you come to just learn to accept certain things that happen to you that maybe like aren't normal like if you're
Yeah.
back home. So
Right.
once you get back home and you're not really experiencing those things, it starts to make you like think of things in a different way. And like I think since I've started thinking more about starting my own business, I just felt like it would be a better option for me to like have my own thing, like still meet the students who like me, and like the type of students like I really appreciate like teaching still. But like I feel like I'd have a lot more freedom and probably just
Yeah.
go through a lot less of the problems that like you would go
Yeah.
through. A better situation for everyone, really.
Yeah. And I think, firstly, I'm like so sorry that you went through these kind of things,
Yeah,
because it sucks, and it's
yeah,
it's just the realities of our world still. And we had a
yeah,
chat before about Vietnam, and just maybe some of just the
yeah,
internal
just
thoughts that people have about people that are different, and
yeah,
they're not always willing to change. Even they know better, but they don't want to do better. And it's just unfortunate, because it's a great country. I
yeah,
visited several times. But I think when you own your own business and you're able to sort of be wherever you want to be, and teach
yeah,
online, so many things can open up, rather than sort of being forced to just go to a country, look for a job in a language school, and kind of be stuck. So, talk to me a
Yeah.
little bit about your you're working for AmazingTalker, and I think you mentioned another one. Was it Cafe Talk? Are you with them at all?
Yeah. Cafe Talk. I think when I first started teaching online, I applied to like several schools, or pretty much
Okay.
every school that like I could see, like Preply, Cafe Talk, Amazing Talker,
Yeah.
Cambly, Novakid. Like I pretty
Nova Kid.
much
Yeah.
got accepted. Yeah, I pretty much got accepted to all of them, pretty much. But like I ended up
Uh huh.
sticking ended up most of them were like not in terms of the pay, most of them didn't have like great pay. Most of them are Amazing Talker, like I ended up sticking with Amazing Talker because one, it was an
Mhm.
online marketplace that like even if I had to start like at a lower price, I could work my way up. And I was just
Sure.
like for some reason, I was just able to get a lot of students like initially when I first started, like on Amazing Talker, and it was just easy, like a lot easier for me to just build a regular schedule like on that
Great.
site at that time. For some reason, I got comfortable with the students and just like stayed there for a while, pretty
Yeah.
much.
That's
Yeah,
great.
but
That's great.
yeah, but like my time on Amazing Talker has been pretty good. I've been able to like build up like a pretty strong like base of regular students. Like it's slowed down now since it's the summer, but before that, like I had around like 25 students or something just on that platform alone.
Wow.
Yeah, but one
That's
of the
great. So,
yeah, but like since like trying to launch my business, one of the things I've noticed is that like, I was really excited to like actually launch my business, as like I expected at the start to like go like a lot faster than it has, since like I had
uh-huh.
so many students on a platform. But like one of the things
Yeah.
I'm seeing is like is actually like it's not as easy as you would think to like convince people like on a platform to sign
Yeah.
up with you, like to have private lessons. Because like I've had students who were with me for like 6 months or more, but like
Yeah.
still like getting
Right.
them to
Yeah.
build trust with you over like a platform which is very big in their country is like still like a challenge. So
Yeah, and I
like
think I mentioned this to you before when we chatted or last week that what was so
yeah,
easy for a lot of teachers with the Chinese companies is that they closed. And so students were
yeah,
like scrambling for teachers, they were scrambling. So it was an easy connection. Yes, we'll go with you online, but your company is still existing because it's a global company. And
yeah,
it is harder to convince them to go with you at a higher rate, probably as well, maybe,
yeah,
and
definitely.
to leave the security of a platform where payment and scheduling and all that is sort of done. But
Yeah,
that's one way that you can get students and take them with you, and I hope that you can get a couple
yeah,
through that way. But another way is through just marketing, right? So what are you
yeah,
doing in that regard, with maybe the Chinese market or whatever? You've got your website set up and things like
yeah.
that, but now what are you kind of focusing on?
Okay, yeah, like I do have like a website set up right now, but like in terms of marketing, I'm mainly focusing on Xiaohongshu and I
Xiaohongshu,
guess
okay, good.
most on Instagram mostly. But like I'm also looking into like Instagram and TikTok, but like I don't want to like focus on too many things like initially
Right.
uh right now.
So how's
Uh
Xiaohongshu going?
Xiaohongshu, it's like it's pretty slow right now. Like I'm like I've honestly been posting like for like less than a month now. So
Okay,
like
good for
I've
you
I've
though.
got a lot of views and stuff, but honestly not that much engagement in
Okay,
terms of like some people have
reaching
been
out.
messaging me, but like they haven't been like strong leads,
Okay,
essentially.
all
But
right.
actually, like I actually did get like my first trial student just yesterday.
Oh,
Um,
great.
yeah.
So
So
tell us about
mainly I've
that.
been
How did that happen?
yeah. Like I guess like I posted maybe like my business card on Xiaohongshu and she responded to that. It was interesting because like it's interesting to see like what kind of things people actually respond to, because like the things which I expected to get more engagement for some reason didn't as much. But like for
Okay.
example, just random pictures like for some reasons, some students end up like messaging me. So as you saw on my post, message me, then we had a trial class, but it didn't really move anywhere further than that. I think like
When was it?
she like
Wait. When was the trial class?
it was yesterday, like afternoon, but
Okay.
like immediately after the trial class, she told me that she was going back to school, so she wasn't sure about like if she could have class with me. So like
Okay.
one of the other things I've seen is that I've started off like by offering free trial classes, which can also lead to like people just sending you messages to have a free trial class without actually intending
Yeah.
to like work with you further. So
Yeah.
like I'm still learning how to like navigate that and like also
Yeah. So
like
I would give you
negotiate
some
and
tips around that. First of all, I would keep the trial classes. If you're going to offer them free, I would keep
yeah,
them super short, 15
yeah,
minutes. And what I do is I actually charge 50% of a class for the trial
yeah,
class. So that tends to bring in, it's great. Get the lead, get them into your WeChat so that you can having conversation with them. And at least you have their contact, and then just let them know, hey, I would like you to experience,
yeah,
how to get how to pay me, and so that they know that that's easy enough. And then
yeah,
you get the more committed ones that way. But I know what it's like. You want to offer them for free just to get more faces in, and do that. Like you've only had one, so it hasn't been super overwhelming. But
yeah,
when you have lots of them and they're not converting, I would look at what are you doing in the trial class, and then what's the
yeah,
follow up like, because it's only yesterday. So definitely follow up with them, and maybe offer them a
yeah,
discount if you want to.
yeah.
But yeah, so
But like other than that, like I do have like one student from Amazing Talker, like luckily, but and sometimes while you're teaching, you can get like super fans who just like you and support you no matter what, which is like
yeah,
great.
they're
So
the
like I
best.
was
Yeah.
able to at least get like one student like off the bat,
Okay.
which is good. Yeah.
Cool. I got a comment here. Wow, and the same applied to endless companies, and still am. Same boat as you. Applied to lots of companies and still continue to apply. Yeah, so maybe check out. Don't know much about Amazing Talker, but maybe check out them. And you also were able to get hired on with Cafe Talk. I think they're
Yeah.
Japanese or
Cafe
Korean.
Talk,
Uh-huh.
mostly Japanese
Gangly.
students.
Okay. All right. Mary says, if a non-native person, this is a great question, wants to break into online teaching, what advice do you have? Do you have any
Yeah.
advice? If it's someone who's non-native, wants to get into online teaching, I get so many
Um,
emails from people who are like just struggling with companies,
I
just to
think
get in there.
other than getting just I think just being qualified helps, like having a degree and like some like either a CELTA or a TEFL will definitely help. Like even
Yeah.
if you're non-native, there's still tons of schools like who will hire you. um
Hmm.
this is just a challenge because like there's certain schools that might not hire you. But like honestly, like depends on where you want to work. For example, like countries like Japan actually have laws against hiring people based on their nationality. So like most schools, like a lot of language schools in Japan hire non-natives. Um, so it just like what matters more for like some of those schools is pretty much like you as an individual. Like I know a lot
Oh,
of
that's
schools.
great. I misunderstood you. So they don't really look at your race
No, like it.
and
No, I'm saying
nationality.
in that specific country.
Yeah, and okay, that's
Like
great. So that's good to know.
so like there are a lot of schools in Japan that I know of. Like I've heard of. They're not the greatest schools in Japan, but like there's other language schools like Borderlink, Gabo Corporation. Um, there are others
Wait.
that I
I'm gonna put
can't.
those in the chat. Border Link. What's the other one?
I think the other one was Gaba Corp. It was like GABA something. Like I applied to a lot of schools in Japan. Like they actually all responded. Like
Great. And then you're with.
I can't remember the names of all of them. Like right now.
Yeah, that's okay. I just was sticking them in there in case someone wanted to Google them. So, all right. So you
So
had a trial student. You're getting some engagement on your Xiaohongshu profile.
yeah,
Look at what's working. Like sometimes we think that something's going to be really engaging and then it isn't, and then something that we don't think is going to be really engaging and it really is. But I always say, once you can get a couple in the door, they can really help you to build with referrals. So that's what I hope for you, that that will the next time we talk, you'll have 15 students and you'll be up and running. I'll stick
that's
your
the dream.
if anyone's on Xiaohongshu and wants to check out WABO's profile, it's in the description of the video as well, and your website as well, which is, remind me again, is it what's the .com URL?
WABO'senglishhub.com.
WABO'senglishhub.com. Cool. So people can see what another teacher's website looks like. That's always fun. See what people put on their website. Give your Amazing Talk. Oh, Mary's got a suggestion. Give your Amazing Talker students free classes for every referral. Yeah, I mean, there's little things like that might help. A discount or something like that, a free class, that's always enticing. Even for them, give them they're already fans of you and love you as a teacher. So give them a free class on whatever platform you're gonna go with, to teach them on. So do you have any, let's see what I was going to ask you about. We talked about the leaving. Do you have any sort of being in Botswana, like how's the internet and stuff like that with teaching online? Is it pretty good?
Like, honestly, it's fine, but it can be not consistent and not stable. So you definitely have to have
I notice you freeze a little bit, so it's not as strong probably as Taiwan's internet. Amazing.
So usually if you are teaching, you would need to have some sort of backup, I guess on your phone, if it's an important class, just in case something happens.
This has been great. Any final thoughts or anything we didn't talk about that you wanted to bring up about your journey, or tips for others, or anything that we didn't share? Tried to cover it all.
I think just for people who are non-native teachers, just not to be discouraged. There's still tons of opportunities out there. It's you just have to look for them. It's some schools might have different policies, but I think they're probably not worth your time anyway. But there are a lot of opportunities out there if you look for them. Especially countries in Japan, but it depends on you as an individual, pretty much and pretty much how you market yourself. As long as you're a good teacher, I think there'll probably always be opportunities out there, pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's great advice. It is more challenging for non-native speakers, but I wanted to have you on because I think your story is great and you're doing things the right way, and you're really, hard worker and putting yourself out there and moving forward and doing things to, you will be successful. I know you will be. It just takes a little bit of time, and keep at it. Keep putting one foot in front of the other and doing something towards getting those first few students in the door, and they will come to you. So I wish you all the best.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
If you could be Fraser, if you could be a Greek god, which one would you be and why? Oh, geez.
Okay. Interesting.
I don't know.
Greek god. I think Zeus would be too obvious. Maybe Icarus.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we'll end there. Thanks a ton, WABO. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much for sharing with us on the channel, on the little channel here, and all the best to you. Hope to have you on in the future to see how things go and what things look like for you in a few months. So if you'd like to come back, I'd love to have you on again.
Sure. All the best. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, WABO.
Goodbye.
Take care.
Have a good one.
Good luck to you. All right. Very cool. So that was just a great chat. I think, I've wanted to interview, WABO's a fluent English speaker for sure, with his experience living in overseas and growing up and speaking English in his household. But oftentimes that passport is such a stumbling block to getting on with companies. And it doesn't really matter at the end of the day what your level of English is sometimes when you are submitting your passport as the first entry step to registering and applying. And there's so much discrimination out there, unfortunately, still with non-native speakers. So good advice. Thank you, WABO. Keep at it. Persevere if you're a non-native speaker. There are opportunities out there for you. And as I always try to promote, think about how you could do this on your own. I know it's so overwhelming when you're only used to maybe being with a company, or maybe you haven't even worked with a company. So the thought of doing all of this on your own can be a lot. I get that, and quite overwhelming. But think about how you could just keep things really simple, basic, get a couple private students in the door, whether it's people that through connections, people that advertising locally. And if you're brave enough to start sharing on social media, then I would encourage you to do that. Check out WABO's website below. He's just getting started. He just went through my Launch Going Solo course. He's posting a little bit on Xiaohongshu to enter the Chinese market, and he's already had a trial class. So good for you on that. All right, guys, that is it. As I say, if you want to come on the channel and share in a future interview, would love to have you on. It's always good to hear people's experiences and to share that with the community. So until next time, have a wonderful week of teaching, and I will catch you next Monday for another great interview. Take care, everyone.